It was a stormy Thursday night in the sleepy town of Dunlow, Georgia. Rain hammered against the windows and thunder rolled through the hills like an angry warning. Inside a small run-down house on the corner of Cypress Street, 7-year-old Malik Carter sat at a kitchen table with peeling paint and rusted legs. His feet dangled just above the cold, cracked tile. He stared at an empty plate. Not a crumb in sight. "Grandma Joyce," he said in a whisper, "did you eat already?" Across the kitchen, Joyce Carter, a thin white woman in her late 60s with wiry gray hair and a tight face, stood by the sink wiping her mouth with her sweater sleeve. Her eyes were hard. "Not hungry tonight, baby," she said without looking at him. But Malik had heard her earlier, the scrape of a spoon against the bottom of the pot, the clink of the lid closing. He knew there was only enough leftover chicken and rice for one person. And it wasn't for him. He nodded, slid off the chair, and walked barefoot to his room, a space no bigger than a walk-in closet. A mattress on the floor, one threadbare blanket, and his sketchbook were all he had. He curled up, stomach growling, and whispered into the dark, "Don't be mad, Mama. I'm trying." His mother had passed away when he was just a toddler. His father had never been in the picture. Grandma Joyce was all he had left, or so he'd been told. Joyce Carter wasn't poor. She told everyone she was, sure. At church, she played the grieving grandmother barely scraping by. She showed up at the food bank with tears in her eyes. She guilt-tripped neighbors into giving her odd jobs and spare change. But under the floorboard in her bedroom closet was a metal cookie tin filled with cash. Neatly folded bills, gold jewelry, even some pawn shop receipts. Thousands of dollars. Joyce had been saving for years. She never used that money for Malik. Not for school supplies. Not for food. Not even when he needed shoes and walked to school with holes in his soles. She didn't hate the boy, but she resented him. He was a mouth to feed, a body in her house, a story she had to keep straight. But her performance in public was Oscar-worthy. "I'm doing the best I can for my grandson," she'd say. His mama's gone and his daddy, well, he's long gone too. People pitied her. They brought her groceries, slipped her gas money. And all the while she kept stacking cash in the tin like it was a trophy. Malik? He kept drawing. At school, Malik barely spoke. His skin was deep brown, his curls thick and uncombed. Other kids teased him for his second-hand clothes, his quiet voice, and the way he stared out the window during lunch. He didn't fight back. He just drew. Always the same things, big houses with smiling people. Pancakes stacked high. Laughter in the air. Dogs, balloons, birthday candles. Mrs. Vega, his teacher, once asked, "Who are these people, Malik?" He shrugged. "Just some folks." But deep down, he wished he lived in those drawings. One afternoon, while looking for a pencil under the bed, Malik saw a loose piece of carpet. Curious, he peeled it back. A floorboard creaked. He pried it open. Inside was the cookie tin. He opened it. Cash. Jewelry. Even a diamond ring. His eyes widened. His fingers shook. He didn't take anything. He just sat there, staring, a lump forming in his throat. Then he closed the lid, put everything back exactly how he found it, and covered it again. That night, the hunger didn't bother him. The betrayal did. Joyce was getting tired of the act. Malik was getting older. He asked too many questions. He looked at her differently. She made a call to a woman in Alabama who ran an underground care home. No questions asked. Cash up front. The woman promised Malik would have a bed, food, and discipline. Joyce booked a one-way bus ticket. She told neighbors she was taking Malik to a special program for gifted kids. "Gifted at what?" one lady asked. "Drawing," Joyce said with a fake smile. "He's got real talent. Deserves more than I can give." She packed a bag. Wrote a speech. Counted her money twice. But the next morning, Malik was gone. He left a note. Just one sentence written in crooked letters. "I know about the money. I'm not coming back." He had taken his sketchbook, a granola bar, and the $5 he'd saved from doing odd jobs. He didn't know where he was going, only that he had to leave. He caught a bus heading east. Sat quiet in the back, eyes on the road. At the bus station in Riverbend, an old janitor named Willie asked, "You got someone waiting for you, son?" Malik didn't answer. Just said, "I'm not going back." Willie gave him a warm cup of cocoa and let him sleep in the station office that night. The next morning, Malik wandered the town. Cold. Hungry. Lost. That afternoon, Rosa Delgado, a bookstore owner and single mother of two, found him sitting outside her shop, hugging his backpack like a life raft. She knelt beside him. "Are you hurt?" Malik shook his head. "Hungry." He nodded. She brought him inside, fed him soup, let him pick out a comic book. He smiled for the first time in days. When she asked his name, he hesitated, then said Malik. Rosa froze. Years ago, her cousin Angela lost a baby boy to a mysterious family member who vanished without a trace. Angela never recovered. Rosa never forgot. And Malik? He had the same eyes. The same birthmark on his shoulder. The same silent way of staring at the world. Could it be? That same night, police in Dunlow received an anonymous letter. Check under the floor in Joyce Carter's closet. She's lying. The boy isn't hers. And the money isn't either. Sheriff Reynolds followed the lead. When Joyce opened the door and saw the warrant, she dropped her coffee. 10 minutes later, they found the tin. And Malik's birth certificate with obvious forgery. Joyce was arrested on the spot. The town was shocked. The news spread like wildfire. And Malik? He was safe. But the truth had only just begun to unfold. Rosa Delgado sat on the couch, holding a warm cup of tea in her hands while Malik, bundled in a soft fleece blanket, sat silently beside her. The television flickered in the corner, though the volume was low. Rosa wasn't watching it. She was watching him. He hadn't said much since he arrived. Just a few quiet thank yous, a few questions about her kids' drawings taped to the refrigerator, and the occasional glance toward the window, as if expecting someone to yank him away at any moment. Rosa didn't press. She knew trauma when she saw it. And this boy had been living in it. The next morning, Rosa took him to the local clinic. He was underweight. Anemia. Slight dehydration. But no bruises or broken bones. The doctor looked at Rosa over his glasses and said, "You're doing the right thing, bringing him in. Whatever happened, this boy needs care." When they got home, Rosa made pancakes. She didn't ask if he wanted any. She just made them. He ate 5. Meanwhile, the town of Dunlow was spinning. News had spread about Joyce Carter's arrest. The sheriff confirmed the anonymous tip and the discovery of forged documents and hidden money. It hit the evening news across the state. Dunlow woman arrested for kidnapping, fraud, and child neglect. The name Malik Carter was on every news anchor's lips. Joyce pled not guilty. "I raised that boy. Fed him. Clothed him. I didn't steal him," she shouted as they escorted her from the courthouse. Reporters weren't buying it. Neither was the community. The town, once filled with pity for Joyce, now turned cold. The pastor at her church publicly denounced her actions. Former friends stopped returning calls. The woman who once accepted praise for being a hero grandmother was now the face of betrayal. And in the middle of it all, Malik was trying to understand. Rosa brought in a child psychologist, a woman named Dr. Bennett. She had kind eyes and a soft voice. Malik sat across from her on the floor coloring. "Do you know what a truth is?" Dr. Bennett asked gently. He nodded without looking up. "And a lie?" Another nod. "Do you think someone lied to you?" This time he paused. Then quietly, she said I was her grandson. She said my mom was dead. That I didn't have anyone else. How did that make you feel? He didn't answer. He just drew a picture of a house on fire. Detective Alvarez visited Rosa's bookstore a few days later. "We found records," he told her. Malik's mother was Angela Reed. She reported her baby missing in 2016. Case went cold after 3 months. "We think Joyce posed as a relative to gain temporary custody, then vanished." Rosa blinked. "Angela was my cousin. We ran the DNA. It's a match. Malik's her son." Rosa sat down slowly, stunned. She never stopped talking about him. Not once. Even after she got sick. "I'm sorry to say Angela passed last year. Cancer. It spread fast." Rosa looked at Malik, who was petting her cat on the floor, and felt tears rush behind her eyes. He didn't know yet. "We need to tell him," she whispered. "We will," said the detective. Gently. In court, the evidence stacked higher every day. Forged documents. Financial fraud. Child endangerment. Kidnapping. The prosecution painted a chilling picture of a woman who built a life on lies, money, and manipulation. The judge refused bail. Malik did not attend the hearings. But Rosa kept every newspaper, every court bulletin, and every photo. One day, she knew he'd ask. Joyce refused to speak in court. But in her cell, she began writing letters. Long ones. Angry ones. To reporters. To the judge. Even to Rosa. One arrived postmarked in red ink. "I did what I had to. That boy was better off with me than with that junkie of a mother. You think you know the truth, but you don't know what it was like to be left holding a baby no one wanted." Rosa crumpled it up and threw it away. But Malik saw the envelope. Was it from her? He asked. Rosa hesitated. Yes. Did she say why? She nodded. She said she thought she was helping. He stared at the floor. Then why did it feel like punishment? Rosa sat beside him. Because it was. He leaned into her shoulder. I miss my mom, he said. She nodded, her arm around him. I miss her too. Malik started therapy twice a week. He drew less fire and more light. Houses with windows. Tables with food. People smiling and reaching for one another. He enrolled in school under the name Malik Reed. Rosa adopted him officially 6 months later. At the ceremony, the judge asked him, Do you want this woman to be your legal guardian? Malik smiled. She already is. Joyce Carter was sentenced to 20 years in state prison. The courtroom was silent as the gavel came down. Malik didn't attend. He was outside drawing on the courthouse steps. He sketched a boy standing at a crossroads. Behind him, a crooked house. Ahead of him, a field of light. Above it in shaky letters he wrote, I choose the light. End of part 2. Say continue to unlock part 3. A new name, a real home. Title, The Boy Who Slept Hungry Part 3. A new name, a real home. Spring came slowly to Dunlow. Trees bloomed in soft pinks and whites, the air grew warmer, and kids played kickball in the streets until the sun went down. Rosa's bookstore, once a quiet corner shop with regulars who came for romance novels or mystery paperbacks, now had something more. It had laughter. Malik's footsteps echoed between the bookshelves. He wasn't the same boy who once stared at his plate in silence. He still had quiet days, sure, but now he laughed at Rosa's terrible cooking and drew comic strips that made customers chuckle. Rosa had turned the back of the store into a little studio. Just for him. A desk, pencils, markers, and a corkboard where she pinned his drawings like fine art. But healing like spring came in slow waves. Some nights Malik still woke up sweating. He didn't remember the dreams, not always. But he knew what they were about. There was always a locked door. Always a cold room. Always that voice, Joyce's voice. Telling him to hush, to stop asking questions, to be grateful. Rosa would find him sitting at the kitchen table with a glass of water, the nightlight casting soft shadows. Want to talk about it? She'd ask. He'd shake his head. Just needed a second. And that was enough. School things were different too. He had a new name, Malik Reed. A fresh start. No more stares. No more whispers. Just Malik, quiet, observant, and incredibly talented. His art teacher, Mr. Lang, noticed him right away. This kid sees the world in color most of us miss, he told Rosa one evening. He's not just drawing. He's saying something. Malik smiled when she told him. Maybe one day I'll make a book, he said. Maybe one day you'll change the world, Rosa replied. The letters from Joyce kept coming. Rosa never gave them to Malik, but he knew. She's not going to stop, he said one night. I know. Why? Because guilt doesn't go away when you're locked up. Some people try to silence it with letters. Do you ever read them? Sometimes, Rosa admitted. But not out loud. Malik thought for a moment. One day I think I'll want to. Just not yet. His therapy sessions became less frequent but deeper. Dr. Bennett encouraged Rosa to let Malik control the pace. He's doing better because he's safe. You don't have to fix everything. Just be consistent. And Rosa was. Even when her business slowed, even when bills piled up. She refused donations. She didn't want pity. We're not victims, she said. We're just rebuilding. Then came the invitation. A nonprofit called Voices for the Forgotten reached out. They had heard Malik's story. They were hosting an art and storytelling exhibition called Through the Eyes of Survivors, and they wanted Malik to submit a piece. He was hesitant at first. I don't want people to look at me and feel sorry, he told Rosa. They won't. They'll see strength. And maybe another kid, one like you used to be, will see hope. He nodded. Okay, but I want to write something too. The day of the exhibit, Rosa wore a second-hand blazer. Malik wore sneakers that actually fit and a button-up shirt with a tiny tear Rosa sewed that morning. His piece was simple. A drawing of two houses, one crumbling locked from the outside, the other glowing with open windows. In between them a boy walking. Next to it was a card. Title The Walk. By Malik Reed. Artist statement I didn't know I was allowed to leave. I thought hunger was love and silence was safety. But then someone opened a door for me. Now I'm walking toward light. I hope you walk too. People cried. Others applauded. One woman clutched her chest and whispered, "My God." A local reporter asked Malik for an interview. He paused, then said, "I'll talk. But only if my mom sits with me." He meant Rosa. That night, after all the cameras were off, Rosa tucked Malik into bed. "Proud of you," she said, kissing his forehead. "Me too," he whispered. "Hey, Rosa." "Yeah, baby? Thanks for letting me be a kid again. You never stopped. You were just waiting for someone to notice." Years later, a book appeared on school library shelves across the state. It was called The Boy Who Slept Hungry. The cover showed a small boy sitting at a table with an empty plate, but behind him, the sun was rising. On the inside flap it read, "Written and illustrated by Malik Reed, a storyteller who once thought he didn't have a story worth telling. Now he knows better." Joyce Carter died in prison. No one claimed her body. Her last letter never got mailed. Rosa found it in a box unopened. She gave it to Malik on his 18th birthday. He held it in his hands for a long time, then placed it in the fireplace. "I already got my answer," he said. "She doesn't get the last word." That night, Malik sat by the window, sketching a boy sitting in a garden eating pancakes, surrounded by sunlight. In the corner, he wrote the final words. "No more hunger. No more lies. Just home."